Hey there, Heather Boyd Wire here. And
Today I'm making French knitted wire art using the Embellish knit knitting mill. It's a super fun gadget where you can quickly make French knitting without a spool. I'll link up the tool below, and the patterns are in my new Knitting Mill I-cord Ornaments ebook. I'm using mini balls of wool that I bought at the Dollarama. Make sure you do not use regular wool. It's too thick and will break the machine. You can use baby weight wool that you can get at any knitting or craft store. You thread the end of the wool into the machine and bring it up and over and then feed it down the middle of the mill. Make sure you bring it right down and through. It'll come out the bottom, and we're going to clip the weighted clip onto the end of the wool. From here, we're going to hook the wool into the first hook, and we're going to skip one, and then we're going to hook it into the next hook. Make sure the little doohickey is down so it catches the wool. Skip the next one, bring it around and hook it into the first one. We will continue to turn the handle and catch the wool with the next hook. Bring it around, and we want to make sure the wool is below the latch, and then the latch will pop up to capture the wool. Do the next one again. Keep bringing it around. Push that loop of wool down below the latch so the latch can come up and capture it. You want to be very careful when you start this so that it doesn't get tangled up, and you want to make sure the latch is down and then captures the wool. Once you've got it started, it will do it naturally, but at the very beginning it's a little tricky because the latch can get a little bit stuck. But with the weight of the wool and the clip, it will eventually just do it naturally, and the latch will go up and down easily. In the meantime, if you have to push the wool below the latch, go ahead and do that, and you will see with time you won't need to do that anymore. Now continue to rotate the handle around, and you will see it gets much easier, and you will be able to go quicker once you get the hang of it. And you're going to keep going until the tube is the length that you want. So bring the handle around and around. And then once it's long enough, we're going to clip the end, remove the spool, and you keep turning the handle, it will release itself. If it doesn't release itself, just loosen it off the hooks with your crochet hook, and then we're going to go ahead and pull the end of the wool through each loop. I'll link up some other tutorials on this I-cord method if you need further instruction with the basic technique. We'll bring the end of the wool through all of the loops so it won't fray. Bring it right through, and then we have the length that you want. Now we're going to clip the end of some 16 gauge aluminum wire and feed it through the cord. So bring it through, feed it through that cord. Go slowly so it doesn't poke out the sides. Make sure your wire is quite straight, and then we're just going to turn the end. And now I'm going to bend it in half, and using a marker I'm going to curve it around to make a petal for a flower, and then bend it back. Just bring it back around, and you have a little bit of give because the cord will stretch, so it's okay if it's not perfectly in place. We're going to bring it around. You can also trim the cord after if you have too much. We'll bring it around. You might find it easier to start at one end of the flower rather than in the middle, but whatever works for you is great. And you can adjust these as you go if you have to adjust the size of the petals as well. The aluminum wire is very soft and very flexible. You see, you could stretch the cord a little bit as well. We're going to bring the end of the wire around. Just turn it around. And we're going to clip the end. Push the end down so there's no pokey end. And make any adjustments to bring the petals beside each other. And we'll make another loop with the other end that will sit underneath the first loop. Using our round nose pliers, bring the wire around into a closed loop and clip the end flush and pinch in that little pokey end. That's our basic shape for the flower. And we can just feed the end through the loops. Let's bring the end of the wool through there. And bring the other end through the other direction. And around. And you can tie the ends in a little knot so they stay in place. And the two ends of the cord are snugly attached together. I'm going to go in with my pliers and wiggle those loops around so they're one on top of the other. They're just stacked. And I'm using a wool needle to go ahead and go back and forth with the wool a couple of times to finish it off. It's like you would do when you're sewing to finish off the end of the thread. Back and forth with the wool needle so we can clip it and it won't fray. And that's our basic shape for the flower. And I decided to open up the loop with the flat pliers or the chain nose pliers. You could finish this off any way that you like. I decided to put a button on there. And I put both ends of the wire through the button. It's a nice fancy pearl button with the loop on the back. And both of the wires fit on that button. It had a pretty big loop. We're going to go ahead and push the petals together a little bit more. Adjust them so they're evenly spaced. And then bring the wires over to the opposite side. Give them a little tug with the pliers. Bend it to the back to secure it in place. And we're going to adjust the other wire, bend it a little bit and bring it to another part of the flower to attach it at another intersection of a couple of the petals. Make sure it's even and bend it to the back and clip it flush with our flush cutters. Turn the end a little bit so it's not sticking out, and now we can go in with a round form or a marker to round out those petals. Adjust them as you need. Just round them out a little bit. Do some little last minute adjustments, and there's our super cute flower. Now we're going to go ahead And with another piece, we're going to make a heart. This could be any size that you want. Easiest way to make the heart is to bend it in half, give it a little squeeze, and curve the ends around. You can also curve them around a round form, like a pill bottle. And as I said before, the aluminum wire is quite soft, easy to sculpt. And we're going to go ahead and bend one end around and clip it flush, pinch in the pokey end, and making sure it's even, go ahead and turn the other end around and clip it. Pinch in that little pokey end, and from there we need to finish the ends. We'll start by tying them in a knot, and that will pull them together at the bottom of the heart. Pull them tightly, do a double knot, pull it right in there, and we're going to hide that little knob at the bottom inside the cord. You might have to push the tube together a little bit, and with a needle we can go ahead and make sure that knot is hidden at the bottom. We'll stitch back and forth and then clip the end. Same with the other side. We're going to go ahead and stitch it back and forth so we can hide that little knob, and also it will make sure that the end of the wool doesn't fray. You'll just have to use your judgment about how many stitches you need, and keep going until there's a nice finish on there and the metal is covered, and clip the end. And you can do any little last minute adjustments. Make sure it's even, and there's your super cute heart. Now we made another cord. This is such a fun machine. I'm sure you're going to love it. To remove it from the mill, we're going to pull the loop up with the crochet hook and bring the end through. This is the easiest way I've found to remove it from the mill. So lift and pull the end through. Just go one by one to remove all the loops with the crochet hook. Last one, bring it up and bring the end through. And pull it. So now it's secure and you can remove it from the machine. In the ebook, you can find templates for letters and words. It's similar to working with just wire. And I'm just eyeballing to see how big I have to make it, that it has enough wool and not too much left over. You can play around with it before you add the wire inside if you want to make your own templates. And now we'll put the 1.5 millimeter or 16 gauge aluminum wire in there and go ahead and form the word. I'll put the template for the love in the ebook, but if you prefer, you can draw it out yourself on a piece of paper and trace it. Bring the cord around. Take your time with it. And at the end, we're just going to turn the wire and go ahead and stitch the end of the wool back and forth to finish it off and to hide that little knot of wire at the end. Clip it, and the same on the other side. I did a little heart on the end of the word. The sky is the limit for these. You can do people's names, you can do your initial, clip the end, do any little last minute adjustments, make it even, It's really fun to sculpt this stuff. And there's your word love. Last one, we're going to go ahead and tie the end. I decided to make a bracelet. So we're tying the end together and we're going to clip the end. From there, I didn't put a wire inside the tube. I got one of these little end clamps that you use with bracelets. I'll link it up in the description below the video and it will be in the ebook. We're going to pinch that shut. This is a popular kind of jewelry finding to make bracelets. You can make leather bracelets with them. And we're going to pinch it close to hold the tube in place and then bring the two ends together so they're even at the halfway point. We added another one and then I just added buttons. I just stitched them in with a thinner wire or you could sew them on. We're going to add a clasp on the end with a jump ring. You can make your own clasp if you prefer to. And we'll add the little loop on the end to attach the clasp together. Hook it up and there's a super cute bracelet with buttons and the I-cord. And I also made the dog paw. Here's the collection. And I made a bike and the template for the bicycle is in the ebook, which I'm going to link below. All the patterns and instructions for these designs and many more.
Thanks so much for watching the video. Be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for lots more wire art and jewelry making tutorials. Join the Wire Makers Club on Facebook to share pictures of your wire art and wire jewelry. Hop over to the Wire Lady TV channel every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, where I troubleshoot new ideas for wire art and jewelry, and I welcome your ideas and special requests. Also, you can find my new kits and surprise packs in my Etsy DIY shop. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you the next time.